All right, troops.
Flloyd, lovely to see you again. How have you been?
I've been up and down, but all told pretty good, thanks, Andrew.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that's just the general time of year. It's just we're up and down, but we'll get there in the end, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I discovered earlier this year when I sort of put two and two together that I was taking longer to come out of my lockdown mode of
Mm,
thinking, of being in the world. So that was being a bit of a struggle just to go, yeah, get out of the house, you stupid woman.
mm. I think everybody has struggled with that though. I had social anxiety anyway, so it was a dream me being locked up. But because of where I was working at the time, they were like, "No, you're going in. What if you die? You die." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. That's an official email that I love to read."
Yes.
So thank goodness I'm out of there now. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm still like the outside world scares me. But
Yeah.
that's I'm like, is that COVID or is that just me just generally being me? I think it's just me being me, really.
I think sort of a sense for pragmatism anyway. The outside world is scary, but it's just how we manage it, how we
Yeah,
manage ourselves in it. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's been
very.
lovely to see you kind of growing over the past couple of years, since we last spoke.
Oh,
And
thank you.
yeah, getting on with stuff.
So, well, enough about me and all my stuff. We're here to talk about you. I want to find out what you've been up to since we last spoke. I mean, I know, but my audience doesn't. And even my mum had said there's more to Floyd than meets the eye. I want to find out more. So, for my mum, tell us what's been going
Yeah.
on.
Okay, well, I can't remember where I was up to when we last spoke, but I know just before lockdown I'd come up with a new solo show that I was going to
Mm,
take on tour, and then the pandemic happened, so that all went out the window, and then coming out of that and thinking, oh, do I still really want to do that? I do, but I
mm.
don't want to do all the hard work that's involved in getting it to happen.
Yeah.
So I've been getting on with doing just gigging when I can with me and my ukulele and my silly wee songs.
Mm,
I've this year, um, after a dearth, a drought of actual paid work, apart from the odd teaching, doing some voice coaching online.
mm.
Uh, this year, round about sort of April, May, started to pick up. It started to get odd little TV commercially things, and a couple of nice big ones, and that certainly helps to pay the bills.
Yeah, it
And
really does. Mm,
yeah, and being invited to come and perform at various gigs the other night, a couple of weeks ago. There are two groups that they've sort of come together through Facebook of women organizing performance events that are just women performing. One
mm,
is called Femme de la Femme. The first Femme has got one M, and the second one is two M's and an E.
mm.
And that's a lady called Claire Berry, and she runs monthly uh, performances at the Everyman Bistro downstairs.
All right.
And I don't know if you've ever been to a gig which is mostly female comic performers,
Mm.
and most of the audience is drunk women, but it's hilarious. They're great to perform to.
Mm.
So I've performed at two of those now, but there's another one called Sisters Making Waves,
Mm.
run by Nick Hardman, and they're a mixture of spoken word and singer songwriters, and they're just lovely events. It's not designed to be specially just for women in the audience. Anybody can come. I mean, Nick's very careful to say female identifying, all that stuff. Which
Mm.
I think goes without saying, but there you go. Some people like to
Mm.
say it.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's
yeah,
just the way times are these days. Like you have to cover your back with everything. It's like, but it's like
yeah,
I'm seeing the reverse of it. They're like, right, what are you? And I'm like, I'm straight white guy. They're like, okay, you ain't getting nothing.
Uh-huh.
Nothing. You've had too much throughout your generations. I'm like, I'm only 36 and I've had fuck
Uh-huh.
all.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, other generations had it before me. Don't punish me for the stuff that was happening previously. But give everybody else a
Yeah.
chance as well. That's the whole point. Just make it
Uh-huh.
inclusive
Yeah.
for everyone. So I just change it. I'm
Supposed
like,
to
well,
be
what do you identify as? I'm like,
inclusive, not
yeah.
yeah. No,
I just
don't
go,
turn around and treat people the way you were treated badly, and now you think it's your turn to treat people badly. That's just not useful.
no.
I
That's
know.
why when people say, what do you identify as? I'm like, I'm Andrew.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, there's no
yeah,
other way about it. Like, I'm Andrew. You don't like it? That's it.
yeah. My reaction to all these questions on forms is, what is your sexual orientation? I want a button that says none of your goddamn business.
Mm-hmm.
Really? It's none
Mm-hmm.
of my business who people like to sleep with or love or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's their business. They're just
Yeah.
people.
I think
Oh,
Family Guy summed it up like in the best way. Like they said, like if anybody wants to get married to be miserable like the rest of us, good on them. And I
yes.
was like, true.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
like it's the same deal. Like I don't care who you love. What it's not
Yeah.
doesn't bother me. Is that I was
Yeah.
amazed that someone
Exactly.
actually said I love you, and I was like, woohoo! I'm cool with
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah. Go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been finding the gigging since coming back?
Sorry.
Have you been finding the gigging since coming back?
Um, I'd probably find it better if I put more effort into getting out there and doing it. I tell you what I really miss. This has made a difference, but the singer-songwriter open mics seem to disappear
Mm,
after lockdown. My favorite venue, 89 Renshaw, they decided to turn their front cafe into the rest of the record store that they were downstairs. So, and that was just such a lovely gig to perform at. It was fortnightly. I met some really great, fellow singer-songwriters at that. And that went. I found that I couldn't go to the one at I got to get this right, the Cavern Club,
mm.
which is across the road from what is now the Cavern. No, it's the Cavern Pub. That's right. It
The
is a
pub that's
pub
across from the club.
across from the club.
Right. Right.
And it's a guy called a very well-known around Merseyside singer-songwriter Ian Prowse. He hosts it every Monday night, and it's got to be your own material and no covers allowed. And I was going along there, but I found I could not take the loudness of the volume that everything is set to. And most people, when they're performing in a pub and people are standing around the bar talking, they sing louder or talk louder, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work. It doesn't shut them up. If they want to talk, they want to talk. So my ears, and I've discovered I've got a hearing aid these days. Having my ears tested and saying, I've got this thing, I know I'm mad, but I can't do loud noises. And they said, oh, that's called such and such. And
Mm.
it's a thing that some people have hearing that's fine, but loud noises hurt. Hence, I've never been able to go to like music festivals. I've
Yeah.
tried going with earplugs and headphones and all of that. Doesn't
Yeah.
work. If I stand there with my fingers right jammed into my ears,
Mm.
I can hear the lovely singing and the words, but
Aye.
take it out and all I just get,
Yeah, like something
So,
I've like noticed, like I've always had it since I was young, but I think it's getting worse now as I'm getting older. Is like everything seems a lot louder to me in my head. Like I was
mhm,
taking like the boys have started a little anchor boys. It's kind of like essentially boys brigade guides kind of thing for 5 and up. What
yeah,
and they had a thing on the Sunday. What and it was just like a wee meeting, lot of like
yeah,
because it was their first time going, so it was
uh-huh,
introduced, and there's a church element to it as well. What
mm,
what me and Nelson don't practice, but we're like they instill good values. On you go, we're gonna keep going with it. But because there were so many kids and so many people, the noise, like for me, it was like someone had just like flung me into the middle of a heavy metal gig. And I used to love
wow,
going to heavy metal gigs as a kid. I loved the noise of that. Like, but
uh-huh,
this was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I freaked out. I was like, Alison, I need to go outside. Like, I can't breathe. Like, I was struggling to breathe and hear, and like my
Yeah.
senses
Yeah.
just went completely flying.
Yeah.
And it's what Alison was really kind of worried. So she's like, "Are you gonna what? Maybe you should get checked for autism or whatever." And I was like, "It could just be that I'm an arsehole."
It could be your hearing. Andrew,
Yeah,
get yourself a hearing test.
yeah,
You get at least one free one, I think.
mm,
But check it out, because it just could be that your ears have developed this thing, that whatever it is that I was born with,
mm,
that and there will be, there will be workarounds that they can help you with. So why not ask?
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Connor doesn't like a lot of noise, so we've got him like ear defenders, like, and that helps him. I've seen me nicking his, like if they've had like if they're in the house and they're playing their
Yeah.
games or they've got the TV on or whatever, and I'm like,
Mm.
plop. This just makes
Yeah.
everything. And it's mostly because when the boys are like going nuts, their voices
Mm.
can be like going a heavy metal
Oh
gig for
yeah.
me. And I'm like,
High
Connor,
pitched sound. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, Connor, can I borrow your ear defenders?
Uh-huh.
Oh, much better. Like you can
Yeah.
go be normal children, and I'll sit in the
Yes.
corner and cuddle my blanket.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
So
No,
that was
it's
that was
worth
fascinating.
just asking an expert, who knows about hearing. Why
This
not?
is a reminder.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a sec. Hang
That's
on a sec. Hang on. Okay. I just have to tell the woman in the box in the corner to stop reminding me to do things.
in fairness, like, I used to have that woman in the corner remind me to do things, which was Alison, but I'm now living my own. I'm like, I had to go back. I was like, Alison, did you buy me a diary last Christmas? Yes. Did I take it with me when I left? Yes. Right. That has to be my new you. Well, and it's just
Yeah.
everything is wrote down now. Everything's scribbled in it
Yeah.
because like I don't know about you, my memory is like a sieve right now. I don't know if it's
Uh,
just because like everything seems to be like so in the now or in the moment, like, and you've got to get everything
yeah.
done, and like and it's quickly moving on to the next thing, and it's like
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
No. Yeah. It's not just you, Andrew. It's pretty much everyone, really.
Mm,
And I think, they were talking on the radio. I think it was this morning, might have been last night. I don't know. I don't remember that far back, but it was it was on Radio 4, and it was a report about all the uh, loss of cognitive function in people since the pandemic, which is
all
still with
right.
us since lockdown.
Yeah.
So let's get the terminology right. And everyone is mentioning it. And I don't think it's a case. My own personal feeling is I feel I know what I have to do is I have to work harder to get it back. That's all it comes down to. There is no sitting back and going, oh, I've lost it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just, your brain is like any other muscle in your body. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And if we hadn't been using our brains in the same way, I mean, we were still using them, obviously,
Yeah.
but not in the same way. And so we have to do some brain exercises, simple as that,
Yeah.
to get it back, and also to consciously slow down and not allow ourselves to be caught up in this constant stream of stuff that's coming at us saying, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that. No, I don't got to do all of that. I really don't. But learning, training ourselves, and I'm just working on it, to actually go, maybe not, maybe I've got to do more than that, but not that much, and just keeping a grip.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and what works for us as individuals, and not trying to keep up with everybody else, all of that. Oh, don't let me get me started.
No, I want to get you started. That's the whole point. Like, man, I still listen to the stuff that you put out as well, like, like your dramas and things like that. And I'm like, this stuff needs to be out more. It's a generation of people that can give the advice to people who are struggling now. Because
Uh-huh.
I mean, for example, like my gran and my papa, like they're older than you. They're in their mid to late 80s now. But they were born just after the Second World War. And they had to go through the depression. They were still dealing with rationing. They were dealing with all this type of stuff. I'm going to them going, right, we just went through a pandemic and we were screwed. Give me advice on how you dealt with it back then, because it was 10 times worse. And I found that so much more beneficial. I'm like, instead of everybody going, no, just leave that and we'll think of new solutions. There's a reason the old solutions worked. There's a reason why we're still here, because the old solutions worked. So give us the wisdom.
Yes. 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 Yeah. So are you saying that Alison listens to my podcast?
Oh, a lot of people do. Well, a lot more than you realize.
I wish they'd communicate some of that to me so that I know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cycle though, like because I know it as well from doing like my stuff. Like people, when I start slowing down and thinking I'm not getting the engagement or the responses, maybe people aren't listening. And when it slows down, they go, why are you stopping? I was enjoying your stuff. And I'm like, I never knew you were fucking listening.
Yeah.
And they're like, I was like, oh, but we are. And I'm like, can you tell me every once in a while, please? Like, even like dropping a comment means so much, not just for the fact that it helps me get fucking paid.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's the thing I've spent the last, since, okay, so backtrack a little bit. November last year, Sarah Golding and, Kareem Comfley and Fiona Thrale, based down, Sarah's in High Wycombe, and she runs the Audio Drama Hub Facebook page group, which is a godsend for anybody working in audio fiction. And she decided to run a podfest in a local pub down in High Wycombe, and I thought, I should get out, I should go. And it was a 2-day event, and I went down, stayed in the Travelodge, didn't know anybody. First day, sort of sat there going, oh, I'm just a silly old woman, no one's interested in me. And then the second day, gradually, people going, wow, Flloyd, yeah, hey, what, yeah, come on, this, that, the other.
Yeah.
So, and it really was a meeting of minds, of people who knew what you were talking about, and some great workshops and stuff. Anyway, so then around, I don't know, maybe March-ish, there was a spate of podcasting convention thingies. There was the big London one. I went to that. It was huge convention center with all the big guys. Amazon was there, Acast was there, all the big hosting.
Was Spotify there?
Spotify was there. Yeah. Spotify guy apparently got up and gave a talk and said, oh, we've got audio, we've got podcasting sussed, we're on top of it. And a few people were saying,
I would have been a lot.
Not in the real world.
There's a guy, obviously, like the Scottish humour as well, like the show Still Game, and there was always a little gift that pops up. And it's a guy that I actually know, Jamie Quinn, who played this character. And it was official who would be making this speech, and he'd be going, no, you didn't. No, you don't. So I would have loved to have been there just to be like, if we got it handled, I would have been like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And no one would understand it because I'm Scottish.
Yeah, I was, and that's a shame. I'm going to get that into the podcast. Don't you worry. I was saying it in my head to every session that I went to. I was thinking, what are you on? No, that's not going to help me at all. Stop telling me how to do it.
Yeah, I think there would have been something different.
Working.
The more polite way I think people would be doing, and all of a sudden there would have been like a string of coughs, but really they're going, bullshit.
Yeah.
I remember learning that from Robin Hood Men in Tights, and it stuck with me ever since.
Yes. Well, I that was a 2-day event, and the longer it went, the more I realized that there was no audio drama in the room.
Yeah.
There was no acknowledgement of it. There was nothing for you if you were doing it. It just did not exist.
Yeah.
And so I came back from them and went on, hit the Facebook groups and said, what's going on? Why is audio drama not even mentioned?
Yeah.
And I did speak to people there. And then I went to another one, which was in Manchester, a smaller one. It was very good. And the same thing. And eventually I got my courage up, and when they said, "Oh, time for questions," and I said, "Where is audio drama in your business model here?" "Oh
Mm.
no, we can't do audio drama. It's much too expensive to produce." And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm doing it on the pension. How expensive? Okay, I'm not paying my actors, and I
Yeah.
want to. I
Hmm.
so deeply want to.
Yeah.
And I came away, and I had people coming up to me after that saying, "I'm so glad you said that. It's true. It's ridiculous. What's going on?"
That's true. Like
Um,
considering like podcasts, what the whole point of them is that they're audio. Like audio, like, it's meant to cover the
uh,
whole audio spectrum. Like
they,
audio
yes,
dramas, like class, like
yeah,
voiceover work as well. I mean, like stuff that
yeah,
I've found that I've really enjoyed doing, like because I do like the Thomas the Tank Engine channel. A lot of
hmm
fans do their own like fan fiction, and they look for
hmm
voiceover actors, and I'm like, you know what, like that's something that I can do. I've got a mic, like I've got like obviously my noise blockers, like I'm good with accents and stuff. So
hmm
I've been doing that and just like helping, whether they go up or
yeah,
not, I don't know. But I love doing it. It's just something that gives me that little bit. So yeah, audio
yeah,
dramas are
yeah.
important, like for people, especially
Yes,
getting creative
but
work out there.
yeah, but the thing is, Andrew, over the years, the definition of what podcasting is has shifted.
Oh
When
yeah.
it when it started, it meant anything distributed via an RSS feed. That's
Mm.
literally what it meant. And how did you distribute it through your iPod, hence
Hmm. Yeah.
podcasting. But the
Yeah, I actually
meaning,
did a video on that like, in one of my channels. Like, what was the difference?
uh-huh,
Because they were going, right, there's content creators and then there's podcasters. I was like, what's the difference? And I was like, well, podcasters, well, it was for iPods and it was originally audio purposes with RSS feeds. Well, the
yeah,
second you put video into it, you are
uh-huh,
classed as a content creator. Because I got my knuckles wrapped several times about it. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be doing a media company, I have to get all those media pronouns right or I am
yeah,
screwed.
yeah. But YouTube, of course, is changing that. So
Mm-hmm.
now apparently you can put a podcast on YouTube with video, and it's a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, okay, okay. I've been fighting that battle for 6 months. I've given up
Yeah.
on it. We're not going to win that battle. But so now the challenge is to find a term for audio fiction that
Mm.
is distributed via an RSS feed
Ah.
that applies, that people will go, "Oh yeah, I want to listen to that."
Mm.
But at the where we've got now is when the general public hears the word podcasting, they think it's a chat show,
Mm-hmm.
it's true crime, it's documentary,
Yeah.
it's two people sitting being nerdy together talking about stuff.
Hey,
But
you leave my Tom's the Tank Engine channel out of this.
uh-huh, but it's not. And people, I mean, I grew up listening to audio fiction on the radio.
Mm.
It was part of my life experience from a very small child. My mother would have the radio on during the day, and I would hear the ABC in Australia audio fiction, and then
Yeah.
come over here, and it's the BBC, and I still listen to it, and I love it. But
Mm.
we now have whole generations, more than one, of people who've grown up who've never heard it,
Yeah.
and they don't know what it is, and they don't know that it is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've grown up with film and TV, and now we have to find a way of reaching out to them to say, "Well, you
Yeah.
might like this too."
Yeah.
You
Well, there's like a specific like Thomas like creator, Little Owl he's called, and he does like kind of psychological like horror type Thomas stuff because it can get quite the stuff like that can get quite dark, but he does
know?
it like audio dramas. Well,
Mhm.
and I remember like listening to his first one and sitting, I was like, and it took me back. I was like, because I remember listening to those like on like cassette tape, like my mum would play them or my gran would play them,
Uh-huh.
and it was just
Uh-huh.
so nice, like because
Yeah.
you could it got your imagination going, you could picture things
That's
in your
right.
mind. Like, because when I read a book, I struggle with my imagination, like with the words. What I don't know
Mm,
what it is, but it's like when I'm reading it, the words are there. I can follow the story, but I can't picture it in my head. When I'm
mm.
listening to it in audio, it
Uh-huh.
becomes so much more clearer. Like to me, I can
Yeah.
picture all these scenes in my head, and it looks fantastic in my own
Yeah.
head, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I really am sad that because people go audio books now. They go, oh, you can record your novel on Amazon Kindle and stuff. And I'm like, as much as I love, still picking up a good book, like a hard copy book, I also think, don't muscle in on audio drama territory. Well, the audio drama territory had its own thing and it was great and it should make a comeback. I mean, fucking everything else has. Tamagotchis are making a comeback in 2023. Bring back audio dramas.
We'll be wearing flares next thing, No,
that'll be the next decade, because right? they say it's every 30 years that everything kind of comes back around. So it should be the 2000s.
We've passed the 30, and in fact, we're almost into the 60. But we had a flares comeback, I think, in the 1990s. No, the noughties. But
it was the noughties.
It was a 70s comeback, but not with flares. They didn't bring flares back. I thought that's interesting.
No, because what had happened was, like, in the 2000s, when I was a teenager, like I said, I listened to like kind of heavy metal music, new metal, and they had kind of flared jeans, but they weren't like, like rip your thighs off at the top. They were just, essentially, they went, we'll just flare it all. So essentially just was baggy jeans, which was great for me, because I was like, I can get as fat as I want and I'm all cool. So by logic, these should come back around the time that my kids are coming in their teenage years, and they should be the whole, you don't understand, Dad. If you listen to this album, I'll be like, don't even smoke. Sit down, son.
Yep.
With my fake imaginary cigarette, I'm going to put on Limp Bizkit and get the hoodies. Be a 40-year-old man at that point moshing about my teenage sons. I will officially have lost my mind.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to it so much.
Well, you'll be reinventing yourself again, Andrew. That's how it goes. Yeah.
I can't remember who it was that said this to me. It was back in the 2010s. It's still true now. Like, everything is just recycled. It's just given a fresh coat of paint.
That's right. There's nothing new under the sun, but it ain't what you do. It's the way that you do it. So
exactly, because things like this, like podcasts, like the way we're doing it now, originally, in the 90s, it would have been, like your Sally Jesse Raphaels, your Ricky Lakes, if you were American or whatever, like coming over and they'd just be sitting in chat shows and talking about stuff. And then you go further back, it was when Parkinson first started as well. There were the sit down interviews and interesting conversations. Everything's still the same. We're just moving on with the technology. Everything has literally gotten smaller.
Yeah.
But we can communicate further, because I'm sitting in my Star Wars like Yoda t-shirt over in Coat Bridge, and I'm speaking to a lovely woman that's down Liverpool way. So I'm like, yes, it's all good.
Nothing interesting. Yeah.
I was just doing that. I was like, oh no, am I going to get cancelled? No, we're fine, Rob. It's like, it's just Yoda. It's okay.
Yeah.
But for my audience, like Floyd, like, because I listen to your stuff, like my family, ever since they first heard you come on, my mum, the exact words were, she was an absolute delight, and she told me to pass that on to you, because I said I was doing another interview with you.
Thank you so much.
So for anybody else that doesn't know, where can they find your stuff?
I'm going to put that up on my website in the reviews thing.
Yep.
Andrew's mum says, say it again. What did she say?
An absolute delight.
An absolute delight. Andrew's mum.
Yeah, which is a better review than my mum actually gave my own stuff. She said, and I quote, "It was almost like listening to a real podcast."
That's wonderful.
It was the best backhanded compliment ever. I use it for everything, and no one believes me when I said my mum said it. Because they're like, your mum's so nice, she can't be that cruel. And I'm like, she was nice. She just phrased it badly.
Nice. Yeah, I know, because if you think about it, your mum knows your voice. She knows it's you. That's my Andrew. That's my Andrew. My God, he's doing stuff. It sounds like a real podcast. I can absolutely understand where she's coming from.
Yep, definitely. So for my audience, tell us where they can find you as well, so we can keep getting the word out for you.
Well, they can go to the website, which is https://amiolyet.com, or you could just go to your favorite podcasting app and in the search thing type "Am I old yet?" with the question mark. Has to be the question mark, and I'm pretty sure it'll come up, because they're There is another podcast called Am I Old Yet? But it's definitely not me. Mine's the one with me dressed up as Mr. Santa for an advert that I did a
Mm.
couple of years ago
Oh,
and going
brilliant.
"Ooh," like this.
It's like, it's the fact
Yeah.
that you've said, like, remember the question mark, like, because that's
Yes.
important. And
Yeah.
that's type of stuff for searching for people is important. Like when I say, look for
Mm,
Ginger Media Limited, there was a Ginger Media Limited company, like, but they were
mm.
dissolved in 2017, but they were the full word limited. And I'm like, okay,
Ah,
go into Company's House, like, and put Ginger Media Ltd,
yeah.
capital letters. And they're like,
Mm,
oh, there you are. And I'm like,
yeah.
yes, I've only been doing it for a fucking year.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
yes, so
don't
the podcast "Am I Old Yet?" It's 117 episodes and counting.
brilliant.
Interestingly enough, I published the last episode of season 8 in the middle of September,
Mm,
and then I thought I'm got to take a break. I was absolutely knackered.
yeah.
Um, but in the break, you're thinking, no, I've got to have another idea. Got to have another. Oh, I haven't got another idea.
Mhm.
And uh, And then I noticed, because every day I look at my download numbers, I just check them. Has it gone up? Is it thing? And pretty much every day there are more downloads. So I
Mhm.
reckon people are going back and listening to earlier episodes, all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I,
Yeah.
I've no way of knowing how many people are actually listening to
Mm,
to a whole episode rather than just clicking on it and then going no, not for me, and moving on, because that still counts as a download.
yeah.
So that thing about getting a reaction from your audience, even if it's just a comment. And the thing to remember also is that we're not making any money out of it. We're just
Mhm.
having to fund it. They're getting something for nothing, basically,
Yeah.
the effort of clicking on the button, and we don't get anything back. And I'm a performer, as are you. We
Mhm.
need an audience.
Yeah.
When you put on a show in the theater, you know how many people came, you know how many people paid for their tickets, you know how many comps you gave away,
Mhm.
and you do give away comps because you want people there.
Yeah.
But if nobody turns up, you know that nobody has turned up. But with podcasting, using this medium, you have no idea if people are actually listening at all. And
Yeah.
as entertainers, we need some form of feedback. I also want to say I need some form of income to cover the costs of doing it. So I'm
Exactly.
preparing myself to put in a concerted effort in the new year to getting some form of funding if I can. I'm never going to have adverts on it.
Mm.
I consider what I'm doing as a form of fringe theatre.
Mhm.
And you don't do adverts in the middle of live theatre. You just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a real push and aim for some, the funding bodies, to see if I can get any kind of support, so that from then on I'll be able to pay my actors. I'm also, you'll be the first to know this publicly,
Mm.
I've started writing a new one.
Hey, brilliant.
Audio fiction comedy.
Oh,
I'm one
fantastic.
episode down and 7 to
Mm.
go.
Well, if you
And
need any crazy ginger people, like, who will do it
yeah,
for free and has a microphone, you know where I am.
you're on. You're on. I'm going to write a character for you.
Uh, I appreciate that. Thank
Because
you.
that's how it works in my world. I
Yeah.
get an actor who says, "Oh, I want to do that." Oh, yeah, right. Okay, you're in.
Yep. Well,
You're
definitely.
now
Like,
officially part of the Thunder's Mouth Theatre ensemble.
thank you. Like, and I appreciate that. And I can now say to my friends, yeah, I still haven't went back on the stage, but I'm still performing.
Yes, indeed.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
Floyd, we'll wrap it up now. Like, the link
Yeah.
will be in the description of this video to my old jet. Like, there have been a little graphic earlier on when you were saying it, because I'm getting fancy with my technology that way.
Ooh,
Like,
nice.
slowly but surely, little improvements. I always get told you do that 1% more than the last time, and then you're on the right track. So,
Mhm.
and again, from like myself, like, go and check out our stuff. There's 8 seasons to watch, so it's not a flash in the pan. There's plenty of content there. Watch it, listen to it, enjoy it. I say watch because I'm like, And then I have to correct it because like, it's listen to it. It's audio. But you're watching us. So watch this and then go and
Yes.
listen to that.
Go and listen.
And
Yes.
go and enjoy it because I enjoy it as well. Because
Great.
again, I
Thanks,
wouldn't ask to
Andrew.
be part of something if I wasn't, what I didn't like it myself. So Flloyd, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you as always.
Yes. Lovely
Uh,
to speak to you again, Andrew. All the very best with all of your enterprises.
Thank you very much. Until next
And
time, everybody.
we'll talk soon.
Oh, we'll talk. Don't worry.
There'll be a script
It's
flying your way.
hey. Well, that's the Ginger exclusive. We're starting to get those back for the final season.
Cool.
Until next time, everybody. I've been Andrew Durnan. This has been the brilliant Flloyd Kennedy. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.